Hey guys, LQ here with the LQ Review, and I'm here with my review of the season finale of The Walking Dead Season 9. Alright, so there's a lot to unpack in this episode. First of all, you've got the fall of the kingdom. Alright, looks like the kingdom is falling because of weather. It's weather related. They can't survive in the cold. They can't survive in the conditions. So they're forced to make the trek to Hilltop. I don't know why they can't survive in the cold. They've never really explained how they've survived all these years. Because by now it's been years. So they've never really survived explained how they survived all these years at Kingdom. Because it's certainly been cold before. So, I mean, that whole part of it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They've had to have dealt with the cold before. Maybe this is just like an unprecedented cold. I don't know. But that trek was interesting. Clearly, Ezekiel has some jealousy over Daryl and Carol's relationship. And it really came to a head in the sense that it was almost like a apocalyptic divorce is what we saw take place, where Carol leaves Ezekiel to go back to Alexandria, and he doesn't go with, and he wanted to get something. He wanted to get that back. He wanted to get their relationship back especially after what happened with Henry. He wanted to get that relationship back. So the only thing that I can surmise is that there was a time jump between the Pikes and now. It seems like some time has passed since they found Henry on the Pike. They don't really specify. If they do specify, I missed it. But I don't think they specified how much time has passed. But clearly it has put a wedge between Carol and Ezekiel, as that tends to happen. Even here in the modern world, we don't have an apocalypse, and when a child dies, that often leads to separation. And that's what's happening here. You see Carol and Ezekiel separating because they can't reconcile what happened with Henry. And there's the whole Daryl component of it, where Ezekiel clearly is jealous of Daryl and Carol's relationship. So you got all that going on. I thought all that was very interesting. My favorite part of this episode, though, was the Negan storyline. Now, I've been talking about Negan all season. Negan is my favorite part of this show now. He is my hero in this show. And when he went out to find Judith, when he braved that cold to find her, and he took off his jacket and saved her, and when she requested, "What about dog?" and he took the dog to appease this little girl that he obviously cares very, very much for. Man, that struck me. I mean, Negan is a guy who did what he did to survive. And yeah, his tactics were extreme. But you got to remember that when he was the leader of the Sanctuary, he was the hero of his own story. And he was not as concerned about the safety of others as he was concerned about his own survival and his own comfort. But he was also concerned about the people of the Sanctuary. And you saw that when he was talking to Michonne. He's like, "I know what it's like to have a kingdom fall." I think they're setting Negan up to be the hero of next season. If you've read the comics, you know that Negan plays a big role in the Whisper of War. And I think that they're going to follow that trajectory very closely here. So Negan was great. Judith was great. Michonne. You know what? I have not loved Michonne this season. I haven't. I think I've said in some of my previous reviews, her story seems like it's just about run its course. But she was great in this episode. So this was not the traditional kind of finale that we get in The Walking Dead. Usually in The Walking Dead, we get the finale where somebody dies. Usually we get the Pike episode in the season finale. That's not what we get here. In this one we get, I can't say it's hopeful, but we get something a little more, I'm going to use the word. It's hopeful. We get something a little more hopeful. Yeah, we've got a divorce. We've got an enemy who we're having to rely on now. we got some things that are happening that maybe aren't great, but we are seeing the communities come together, and we are seeing the emergence of what I think is going to be a central figure moving forward, and that's Negan. So there's a lot to unpack in this episode, in the sense that there's a lot going on, but nothing traumatic happened in this episode. They just survived. They just had to do what they had to do to make it to the next step. So yeah, I really like this episode. The Walking Dead was a win this season. It was a win this season. I loved it. And I'm not one of those people that hated All Out War. I thought All Out War was very good. Enjoyed it a lot. But I can understand how some people wanted to walk away during All Out War, because it drug on for a long time. I mean, we got Negan at the end of season 6, and then it went on all of season 7, and then it went on all of season 8. So All Out War just drug on. Now, I loved it. But I can understand how somebody would say, you know what? I've had enough of this. If you are one of those people, come back. This is as good as The Walking Dead's been in a long time. We had that little tease at the end with Alpha and Beta. That was great. So Alpha's one messed up chick. So, oh, and we also had Lydia and Carol. Lydia asking Carol to kill her, and then Carol refusing and taking her hand and bringing her back to the group. Great stuff. So come back to The Walking Dead if you're not one of the people who left. Are you loving it as much as I am? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here at the LQ Review, where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, thanks a lot.